Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. As you know, my name is Vincenzo and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Thank you once again for joining me in these Fountain Pen Therapy annual awards, year-end 2024. Well, we've seen the Chinese pen maker of the year. We've seen the Indian pen maker of the year. We've seen the Italian pen maker of the year. And now it's time to look at pens in general. My top 10 and maybe my top 5 and my top pen of 2024. Well, as you know, there are a lot more pens in the world than Chinese pens, Indian pens, and Italian pens. And 2024 for Fountain Pen Therapy has been a very, very good year. Lots of pickings, lots of candy. Let me tell you, it's been a record year in terms of purchases and emotions and writing experiences. And you know, we're going to do a year-end video and kind of a retrospect to kind of see how my channel has grown and how Vincenzo has grown as a collector in terms of changes that I've in my tastes, etc., etc. It's going to be a fascinating year-end video, or maybe right at the beginning of the year, do a kind of a retrospective, chat a little bit and share my views. But this last awards are important. I think I want to show you all of the pens we acquired during the year and kind of make some choices. Pick the top 10, top 5, and then the winner, if you will, if there is such a thing. But it's a lot of fun, guys. It's Fountain Pen Therapy, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're back with a bunch of pens. Now, I wanted to show you the pen haul of 2024, but of course I'm not going to take out... You saw my Chinese pen haul, you saw my Indian pen haul, you saw my Italian pen haul, and you know, there were roughly 20 pens in each of the 3 episodes, so you're talking about 60 pens there to choose from, and where I chose my nominees for the Chinese pen, the Indian pen, and the Italian pen. So I'm not going to repeat those, but these are additional worthy of mention purchases for 2024 that kind of excited my hobby. And I'd like to kind of do a quick survey of these additional pens. Keep in mind what I had for Chinese, Indian, and Italian. And then from all of that, and we're talking about in excess of 100 pens here, we can choose the top 10, my top 10 of the year, okay? And I just wanted to show you the kind of pens I purchased during the year, in addition to the Chinese, Indian, and the Italian pens that you've seen already. First of all, it's been the year of the flex nib for me. I've discovered the flex nib, and it all started essentially with this fountain pen revolution nib that I've been raving about, that I put in my V200. I've got the Chrome Ultra Flex Chrome version, which I recommend in more than the dual toned version. I understand there's also a gold version. I also understand it may not be worth the extra price, but you know what? Maybe for 2025, we should try it out. In addition to that, I also discovered that Canwright, of course, had a flex nib, more of a semi-flex than a flex. We got Osprey. I've added 2 additions here. I've got a flex, kind of a semi-flex from Osprey, be it in titanium, dual-toned, or even chrome version. This beautiful pen, this is the Good Blue, which is an excellent flex. And I got that both in the regular steel version with the pen, and I also purchased a nib that I put in this Delta Dune, which is titanium flex. So it was the year of the flex, so to speak, for me anyway. Of course, this is in addition to the Mag 600, which we'll deal with in a second. We also had, what's under this hood? Oh, yes, Let's not forget that Santini has those super flexi nibs, which also 18 karat, which are also beautiful. And that's in addition to the the flex from Scribo, the Omas Bologna Calligrafia with that cross flex from Regalia. I also discovered that Joe had, what they call flex nibs, which were worthy of mention. If you're going to take a fine, I prefer to have this ultra flex or flex fine, even an extra fine, because it gives you a little bit of line variation. And of course, we had our, I knew about these pens, but these are the Noodlers AAB and the Triple Tail, which again make wonderful flex nibs as well. So that was the year of the flex. In addition to that, take a look at this. I mean, this is, first of all, the primary manipulation pens, right? It's very popular in 2024. I believe they began in 2024, but perhaps 2023. But I purchased my primary manipulation pens all in 2024. You got Navlar, we've got London Pen Company, we've got Galen, we got a series of pens. I also discovered the Bennu pen for the first time. Here's a Euphoria with that beautiful Schmidt nib. Very, very nice. I've got a series of got into vintage nibs as well, vintage pens. I've got the Waterman 52.5, beautiful. Another Waterman here. I got a Pelican 140N and another Waterman there as well. So we got some flex nibs in vintage pens that we discovered. Well, here's one of my Grail pens. Finally got the Parker Duofold, a vintage version of that. Instead of relying on the Chinese imitations, I got the real thing finally. Of course, I've got the majestic Pelican M100 that I purchased in 2024, which is a real contender, a Grail pen, of course. And then I've got a series of Sailor pens. I only owned the 1911. I bought the Pro Gear Standard, and of course, I got my Sailor King of Pens, all purchased in 2024. So then I discovered Pilot. I mean, I had, cheap or less expensive Pilot pens, but I discovered the 823, the 743, the 742, the 74, and that Falcon Pilot. So all of these pens come in the mix, and should be added to my Chinese pen haul that you've seen, my Indian pen haul, and my Italian pen haul. From all of those pens in excess of 100, here are my top 10. Okay, so let's take a look at my top 10 pens, fountain pens for 2024. Paper being used, Tomoe River, as usual. This is the Writer's A5 notebook from 7 Seas. You can purchase that at Nanami Paper. A site, beautiful paper. This is the original Tomoe River. Snapped up a bunch of them, put them in inventory. Hopefully it'll last me a lifetime. Here we go. So number 10 is the Chinese pen of the year, for me anyway, which is this V200 titanium Chinese pen, kind of heavily inspired by the Conid. Well done Asvine. The Asvine V200, but it's a special Asvine V200 because of that Bach setting. I was able to substitute the nib, although the Asvine nibs are just wonderful, with this flex nib. So here we go. So this is the 2024 top 10 pens. So my number 10 is the Asvine V200 with the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex. Just a wonderful nib, a beautiful pen, and just a fabulous writing experience. One of the highlights of 2024 for me. So that's number 10. What is number 9? Number 9 is I finally put my hands on a Parker Dual Fold. This is more of a vintage version. Beautiful, beautiful pen. Okay, so let's stick at number 9 on my list. Bought from Terry Morris at Peyton Street Pens. She's made me a real happy camper this year, I gotta tell you. So number 9 is the Parker Dual Fold. Kind of a vintage version, if you will, not a modern version. I believe in 1990s, this version here. Just fabulous. 18 karat nib. Fairly stiff, but beautiful writer. So that's my number 9 in this beautiful red. Very, very nice. And it matches well with this oxblood. That's number 9. Number 8 on my list. Well, it's the top Pilot pen that I own, at least for the time being. But stay tuned for 2025. I have things planned. Number 8 on my list is this Pilot Custom. Yes, you've guessed it, the 823. This has a broad nib. I mean, some people say that this is the pen, if you have, leave the planet and take one pen with you, which one would it be? It would be the 823, reasonably priced, a beautiful writer, beautiful gold nib. And is it a 14 karat? I keep forgetting. I believe so. So this is beautiful 14 karat. And this is a broad nib. Writes first time, all the time. Never have any drawing issues with this pen. I pick it up and it writes. The only time it doesn't is when there's no more ink. It's as simple as that. That's my number 8. Beautiful, beautiful pen in this smoke finish. Very, very nice. I'm glad I discovered Pilot. Now, for my number 7. Number 7 is this vintage nib. This is a Waterman 52.5 vintage flex nib, my first. And let me tell you, I'm not disappointed. What a flex. Now I understand. With this nib, I understand what they mean by vintage flex. And more are to come, I've got to tell you. I keep looking for them. This is number 7. Is the Waterman 52.5 flex nib. Look at that. You can write from extra fine to really double broad if you push that pen, and it pushes beautifully. There's got that great spring back in the nib, which only a vintage flex can give you. So this is my number 7. The only drawbacks with these pens, I find that with these lever fills, they kind of dry up on you, and it's a lot of maintenance. They're finicky. So it's pens I find myself kind of inking every time I want to use it because it's dried up for some reason. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm not sure. I'm going to be looking for eyedroppers instead of these lever fills. But look, more to come. That's number 7. Number 6 on my list. What is it? Well, I could not finish the year without getting myself a King of Pen, Sailor King of Pen, fine nib. Yeah, and now I finally understand what people talk about and rave about in that kind of a chalky, smooth, very flexy or bouncy Sailor nib. This is the Sailor King of Pen. Beautiful, beautiful nib. Gotta tell you, you can feel the chalk. But very, very nice addition to my pen collection. Another Grail pen in my estimation for sure. So Sailor, you finally come home. Number 5 on my list is the Indian pen of the year, which is this Magna Carta Mag 600. That flex nib, which is the closest you can come to a vintage nib, as we've seen, is like a paintbrush. So number 5, let me just prime it. Here we go. Number 5. So this number 5 is the, oh, these things, yeah, it's a little finicky, but Magna Carta. Yeah, once it gets going, it's it's hard to beat. Mag 600. I call this the fun pen of the year. It sure is. I mean, with this, flex gold nib, I think it's a real contender this year. Everybody should own a pen like this because everybody deserves some quality, fountain pen therapy. So sorry about that. It does railroad if you kind of push it too much, but a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with this pen. Beautiful looking pen too, with that vintage clip. Very nice. So that's number 5. What is number 4? Well, number 4 comes in. It's got to be in the top 5. This is my number 4 Visconti Homo sapiens. Purchased in Italy at the Novelli shop. Show you a picture there. Very, very nice. This has got an 18 karat rose gold Visconti fine nib. You saw it also if you saw my Italian pens of the year. I mean, you cannot put this pen in any top 5 list. Unique. And if you get the right nib, beautiful addition to your collection. So that is number 4. Now, number 3. Number 3 on my list, almost tied for number 1 in my Italian pen list, is, so number 3 is a pen that I discovered in 2024, and more to come for sure, is this scribble. This is the La Dotta model with this Field Flex nib, which is just absolutely outstanding. Recommended, worth every penny. It is a little expensive, as a lot of Italian pens are, especially those with in-house nibs. Gang at Scribo, an old gang of Omas, really done a good job, a little company. And I'm just looking forward to them having more than just 2 models. They basically have this kind of hourglass model in various materials, and then they have the Puma model. But I understand a new model should be coming out soon. As soon as that model comes out, I think I'm going to, add to my collection. So that's number 3. Now, number 2 on the list, which would probably make number 1 on many lists, but my number 1, you shall see, is the sentimental choice more than anything else. But number 2, this pen to me is an absolute spectacular demonstration of a writing instrument. This is the Pelikan M1000. And this, of course, is with the broad nib, so it makes it even more, broad, 18 karat, juicy, juicy, juicy. It's soft. It writes on its own. It's intimidating, as I like to say, in that sometimes it's very difficult to control. In that classic look, beautiful, huge nib, one of the prettiest nibs in the market. And, you don't break the bank with this. You can get it for anywhere between $900 and $1,000 roughly. And it is a pen that will last you a lifetime, well made, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful writing experience. That's my number 2. And of course, for those of you who saw my Italian pen, I cannot say that this is not my number 1 pen of the year. It is on all categories just because of what it represents for me. I invite you to take a look at the video on the Italian pens, in particular to that section where I do the unboxing and I have tears in my eyes. Take a look at that. It's a lot of fun. So my number 1 choice is this Delta Dolce Vita oversize, but it's an original, so made by the old Delta, if you will, not a modern version. And it has, therefore, an 18 karat Delta dual covered, huge number 8 size nib. So, and this is a fine, bought it pre-owned from Terry Morris at Peyton Street Pens. She made me a very, very happy person. Fountain Pen Therapy Pen of the Year. I've called it the perfect Italian pen and my perfect pen for 2024. There you go. Dolce Vita. So there you have it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I'm not sure when this video will go up, probably after Christmas. So I do want to wish you all a very, very happy new year. May 2025 bring lots of success, but most importantly, lots and lots of health. Enjoy your pens. This is a great hobby. It takes us away from the daily grind. It gives us a hobby. It's a wonderful community of beautiful people for a beautiful, beautiful writing experience, journaling, inspiration. Get that stress out of your body. Just lay that ink down with those beautiful nibs. There is nothing like it. I just hope that our community will grow so that we could share with others what you and I know to be just a great, great life experience. So Happy New Year, folks. Thank you for joining me. If you've gone this far and seen all this and not subscribed, please subscribe. It's going to help the algorithm. But you know what? We got plenty of pens coming up. I've already got 5 or 6 videos for you for 2025. I understand that the Chinese market might pick up a little bit. So, stay tuned. I've got more Indian pen makers to share with you in 2025. I've already purchased 1 or 2 pens that are coming in. There's some Chinese pens that have come in that we're going to, start the new year with that. And Italian pens, of course, are always there. I've already got a few for you for 2025. So it's going to be another exciting year. Maybe not as exciting as 2024, but one never knows. Ciao, arrivederci, e buon anno!